to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble!
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
Uh-oh. It's not a good start.
All right,
Career.
let's get into it.
Do it.
Yes, welcome back to Sports and Sorts. This is episode number 96. I am one of the hosts. My name is Shane Moore, and you can find me on Twitter at EinhornIsFinkel.
And I'm the Bri Man. You can find me on Twitter at _Bri_Man.
And you can find the show anywhere podcasts are played. Just type in Sports and Sorts into the search bar and you'll find us, or head on over to our website, which is www.sportsandsorts.libsyn. That's LIBSYN.com. If you have any questions or rants or anything like that, you can send them on over to shaneandthebryman@gmail.com. You can hit up us on Twitter at shaneandbryman or facebook.com/shaneandthebryman. Or you can put it in the comments in this right here, because I believe we can actually look at your comments as we are live. So if you want to do that, you can do that. If it's good, we'll get them on the show. And what do we have on the show today? We have a lot to talk about. Today we will be talking about the MLB All-Stars. We will also be talking about who made the cut and who shouldn't have made the cut, which also leads us to, should the fans be able to vote in who is on the All-Star team, because there are implications if you don't make the All-Star team. So we're going to talk about that. And of course, we got the state of the Yankees, talking about Sonny Gray and maybe if they can acquire a stud pitcher during this trade season. We will also be talking about the drama that follows Kawhi around and the Spurs. And then a little bit, we'll talk about the Lakers as well, with LeBron and his new team, and maybe how they will fare in the West. So we got a great show today. Great show. So let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bri Man.
So first things first, I got a lot of stuff going on here. I didn't realize how much stuff this was going to be. I have so much stuff going on. I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to handle it all. Bri Man, I don't know what I'm going to do here.
I'm sorry to hear about that.
You know what I'm going to do first?
I mean, buck up, okay? Be professional. We're live now.
I am going to go and put my headphones on, because I forgot to do that, because I just have too much stuff going on right now. I have like a million things in front of my desk. You know, what am I going to do? It's live time, so why not look as unprofessional as possible?
Yeah, you're panicking. Well, did you see my post this morning about how everything that could go wrong? Your cat's going to come in the room. My dogs are going to start barking. The kids are going to come downstairs. There's going to be a booger on my face. My Dunkin' Donuts is going to spill or something like that. My dehumidifier will kick on.
Yeah.
Things are bound to go wrong.
Breakers will pop, and
breakers will pop.
Yeah, all that stuff is going on. So anyway, first thing I wanted to talk about today with you is the MLB All-Stars. We have. So I have a couple of issues with who got selected. I don't know if you do, because one of the things that I've always had an issue with was the fans being able to vote All-Stars in. And I didn't know if you had the same problem, and if you have a similar problem with that.
I go back and forth on it. There's the tradition of the fact that the fans have voted the players in, but then again, we're fans and we can't be trusted because we're voting generally with our hearts and not with our heads.
Right.
So I probably am like 60-40 on it, like 60 as in maybe it should not be in the fans' hands, because if you look at some of the omissions this year, like to me, there are a couple of really glaring ones, like really, really bad.
Yeah.
And I just, one of them's a pitcher, the other one's a position player, but it does bother me though, that the fans, again, it's a voting with your heart over your head kind of thing. And that's unfortunately, that's going to happen. When there's that objectivity is taken away from it. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll see how it shakes out over the course of the next couple of, look, plus the other thing is guys are going to get hurt. So that means that there are going to be some people who deserve to make it and will make it. Mm-hmm. But the point is, though, that on the first go round, they didn't get the call. They'll get it, when injuries start to roll in, like Gleyber Torres might not even make it, because he's probably still going to be on the DL. So, somebody who's deserving will get on. Not that he wasn't, but somebody who's deserving will be able to get on. Like Andrelton Simmons, will get on the team. He may get voted in anyway, though.
Right. I mean, there are a lot of people here. So, I mean, let's get into right here. Any issues with the selections that are there right now? There was a couple that I had. For one, I really dislike the whole there has to be a person from every team. I really think that is something that is just it's not something that should happen. I feel like if you're going to do that, that's like giving a trophy to everyone. And I've never really been in agreement with that. If you're good enough, you should make it. If you're not, then you shouldn't make it. And Joe Jimenez is one of those guys that I do not feel should have made it. I mean, he's pitched 41 innings. He's not really a closer. He's not a starter. He's got 4 wins, 3 saves, 46 Ks, 1.15 whip, 2.85. So, no child left behind. Jason Polero says, no child left behind, Shane. So anyway, I feel like he has got a Ks per 9 of 10.10. And that is good. Those are good numbers and all. But a person that's been left off is Blake Snell. I don't know if that's the guy.
Blake Snell's my guy.
You're talking at 116 innings pitched, 12 wins on the Rays. He's got 12 wins on the Rays, and he's got an ERA of 2.09. His Ks per 9 are 10.24, and he's got 132 Ks. I mean, 12 wins on the Rays alone should get you an All-Star nomination. And that is ridiculous. And this is one of those things that the reason why I have a problem with the fans voting on All-Stars is because when you are an All-Star, it counts. It really counts on your Hall of Fame implications. Now, I'm not saying Blake Snell is going to be a Hall of Famer, but if he gets to the point where he has a very good long career and he only has 5 All-Star nominations or 6 All-Star nominations, that 7th All-Star is a big deal. That 8th All-Star is a big deal. The more All-Star selections you get, the better chance you have getting into the Hall of Fame. And I feel like Joe Jimenez, as good as he is and all, he's having a good season, but if you needed somebody from Detroit to be on the team, then you should have gone with Castellanos.
Yes.
Because he has had a very solid year this year. And
Joe Jimenez is that's
it's just a ridiculous pick. It's just like, we need another pitcher. Well, let's go with him. You know what? Select Blake Snell, and then when Blake Snell can't pitch or whatever, then you go with Jimenez. He is the backup. That's why. And it was a joke that he's not even on the final vote or anything like that. I mean, there's no pitchers on there whatsoever, but it's one of those things that's just kind of a joke. So I have never been a big fan of the fans being able to vote in the All-Stars because I just feel like they always get it wrong.
It's a popularity contest. It's a heart over head thing, and it's probably not in the best interest of. I don't want to say the best interest of the game, but you know what? It's not in the best interest of these guys who deserve to make the team and who are being left out because a fan wants this guy on there, I mean, it's just it's probably time to move on from that.
Yeah, I'm in 100% agreement because the other people that I have here, like I could have gone on and on with a list. Like I have a list here of, Lorenzo Cain and Christian Yelich. Those are 2 guys that have had good seasons, but I feel like you have somebody like Dave Peralta, who for Arizona is having a much better season. I mean, he beats Kane across the board everywhere except for I think except for
WAR. I think WAR is the one thing where Kane is really does he have the highest WAR in the league or one of them? He's really up.
It really doesn't matter when it comes down to it because I mean, if you look at total bases, that's a big deal for me. Peralta has 164 total bases. Lorenzo Cain has 116.
Yeah.
That is a big gap. I mean, if you want to look at OPS. That is, he's got Lorenzo Cain is 832, Peralta is 864. He's got more home runs than them. I mean, as far as he's got almost as many runs scored as the two guys. Christian Yelich has quite a bit more. But then you have RBIs. He's got more than both. Christian Yelich is 35. Kane has 26. And Peralta has 49. It just doesn't make sense. I feel bad for Peralta because of that. You know, he's clearly having a better. Even Rhys Hawkins is having a better year than both of those guys.
Yeah, you touched on Snell, who to me is the biggest snub overall. I would say he's my overall biggest snub, but Jesus Aguilar. I mean, come on, 22 home runs, 63 RBIs,
and I think
.001 OPS. And my other guy would be Albert Almora Jr., who is leading the league in hits.
Yeah.
Is not an all-star.
Yeah, so there's
just some stubs.
And that is part of the final vote that we'll get into in a little bit because, Aguilar is part of that. But so one of the things that another guy that you could actually make a case for in the AL is Lowry, Jed Lowry. I mean, he's having an outstanding year. He's batting .291, got 15 bombs. He's got 61 RBIs. 61. I mean, he's in the top 10, 12 of RBIs in Major League Baseball. And he's not even on the final vote.
No, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, this is something that's
because they do a good marketing campaign. The Milwaukee Brewers must have done a good marketing campaign. And then, Christian Yelich and Lorenzo Cain get voted on, not David Peralta. Or, Lowry gets in, doesn't get into the final vote. But you have people like, to be honest, Giancarlo Stanton should not be a part of it. I just don't feel like he has.
Absolutely not.
He's had streaky moments where he's hit some home runs, but overall he should not be not be in the final. But he is because he's in New York.
Right.
And that's unfortunate.
And Gleyber, and look, obviously as Yankee fans we're happy for Gleyber that in his rookie season he's already an all-star. It's great. It bodes well for us for the future. But at the end of the day, he trails Jed Lowry in pretty much every offensive category, and he's committed a lot more errors than Jed Lowry too. I mean, there's just that's I hate to say it, it's kind of a joke.
Yes. It really
Jed
is.
Lowry absolutely deserves to be there. He's a dangerous player. I hate every time the Yankees have to face him. I hated but he deserves to be there. And Gleyber, and maybe he will again because Gleyber's probably going to be off the roster. I would imagine he'll be on the DL. Mm-hmm. Maybe Jed gets on somehow, but yeah, that's a bad snub too. Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, there is a great argument for this to be taken out of the fans' hands, no doubt.
Yeah. All right. So let's now, since the fans are still involved here, let's go and switch on over to the fan vote. We have a couple people here involved, and that is so on the AL we have. Andrew Benintendi, Andrelton Simmons, Eddie Rosario, Giancarlo Stanton, and Gene Segura. And then on the National League, we have Mac Muncy, Aguilar, Carpenter, Brandon Belt, and Trey Turner. So you have all those guys in for the final vote. As of right now, I would have to say, I don't know what everybody else out there is thinking, but yeah, Jay Palermo he commented on our All-Stars, with the fans voting. He said it's a shame, but it also affects future contracts, and that's true. It really does. It does affect future contracts.
And it may also impact bonuses too, because certain guys probably have it built into their contracts to it's incentive to make the All-Star team.
Yeah,
you make an All-Star team, you get a bonus.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's one of those things that. You can't leave it up to the fans. I know it's fun for the fans and all, but you can't do it. You just can't do it. So let's get into this real quick. We have about 2 minutes left on this topic, and that's the All-Star Final vote. Out of all these players, I think that it's a joke that Aguilar isn't. He should be hands down the runaway favorite.
To me,
he's fourth in the majors in RBIs. He has an OPS over 1,000. There is only 3 players in the league in the AL right now that have over 200 plate appearances that have an OPS over 1,000, and that's JD Martinez and Mookie Betts. Both happen to be on the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's a slam dunk in the National League. Yeah, that's a slam. It should be him. On the American League side, it's a little tougher for me. I'm a little torn between Simmons and Segura. Simmons is such a good player. Segura is having a really good year.
Yeah.
A really nice bounce back for him too, because he hasn't been an All-Star in a few years. But he's a really good player, and he's doing it for a team that has really surprised people, especially because they're without their best player. And he's picked up some of the slack offensively. But if you're gonna put a gun to my head, I'm gonna go with Simmons. I'm gonna go with Simmons by like a nose hair.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So Simmons wasn't even on my list. I love Andrelton Simmons. I think he's one of the best shortstops in the game. But that's more due to his defense. He's come around hitting the last 2 years. That last year and this year, he's really picked up some steam with the bat. But I really feel like as of right now, for me, when I looked at these numbers, I kind of went down. I looked at the numbers a little bit deeper and everything. But I feel like Eddie Rosario is the favorite here. Although I would not be offended or I wouldn't be hurt if Benintendi, I call him Benintendi, if Benintendi was the actual guy to make the All-Stars, because when it comes down to having all the numbers across the board, Benintendi is the obvious guy to go in there. But I feel like Eddie Rosario's just had a little bit better of a year, producing 18 home runs, 53 RBIs, which is right there with Benintendi. But his average is a little higher. It's just that there was something about Rosario that I feel like had a little bit better of a shot. He also stole 6 bases, and I know Benintendi is actually at around 16 stolen bases, so he really does it across the board. But I just feel like Eddie Rosario has just had a little bit better of a year on a much worse team. So if you put him on a good team, like an all-star team, his numbers are bound to get a little bit better. Like, because I think that Benintendi's, numbers are a little bloated because he's on the Sox. So, all right. I don't know who anybody else out there thinks. If they think that the fans voting is a good idea, or if you think the final vote, who do you think might get in? I mean, I kind of read them off, all the players and everything like that. If you have any opinions, go ahead and shoot them in the comments. And if there's anything good out there, I'll read it on the show. All right. So let's move on to the next little topic here. We're going to switch over to our
The state of the Yankees.
So those that are Red Sox fans, I really feel like Red Sox fans should want to listen to the state of the Yankees, because I think that you should know your enemy better than you know your friends. And that's why we are very happy to always welcome on Damian Diden and the Red Sox, where he really gives he's got a good depth of Red Sox knowledge. He also has good depth of baseball knowledge. So that's why we bring him on from time to time, and we have him go with beautiful mind on all these numbers and statistics that go around all these baseball players, because in baseball, statistics are probably the most important number out of all the sports. When you come to basketball and football, statistics aren't as important. But I will say, state of the Yankees, the first topic that I really wanted to get into was Sonny Gray. In about 5 minutes to talk about this. Do you think that Sonny Gray will ever be able to pitch for the Yankees? I'll let you go.
No, I don't. I don't think so. I think we've had a decent enough sample. Well, and what's weird about this too is that he did not pitch bad last year. He just didn't get any run support. He was much more solid last year. And this year, see, this is the year I think as a Yankee fan too, you really expected to see the best of him, because now he's acclimated to the team. He's had a chance to go through a spring training with the team. The chemistry is much more there than it was when he came over at a deadline trade last year. But you're halfway through this year now, and not only are the consistency issues a major problem, but now it seems to be getting to a point where you're expecting him to go out, pitch poorly, and for them to lose. And I think the last few outings that has kind of played out. He had one sort of anomaly outing in there where he was really good over 8 innings. I think 8 innings, 1 run. But the problem is that's the anomaly. It needs to be the other way around. The anomaly needs to be the bad game where you blow up.
Yeah.
His problem is the anomaly is the good game. Yeah. So, look, I don't think so. And look, it's not really his fault. Some guys just can't play in New York. And unfortunately, it's hard for me to say this too, because I love Sonny Gray. Love him. I think he's an extremely talented pitcher. There's no questioning his stuff.
No.
The stuff is there. But I think with him, this is very neck up. He clearly doesn't trust his stuff. He doesn't have any confidence in his fastball. When he does throw his fastball, it gets absolutely tattooed. I don't think there's a future here, but I'm not really, I'm not really sure what they're going to do. Is this the last year of his contract? I don't think he's under contract for next year. Or maybe he's got
Sonny Gray?
Yeah, is it maybe it's a team option or something? I'm not really sure. I thought he was done after this year because I thought basically when they traded for him it'd be like a year and a half of service before he hit the market. But
I don't think he hits the market. I think there's a team option. I think he
maybe
has
there
multiple team options. I think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he might. But you know what though? I mean, do you see a point in bringing him back?
No, not really. I mean,
I really don't.
So this is my problem with Sonny Gray is in 2017, he pitched 28 and 2/3 innings, and he gave up 18 earned runs. That is not great in Yankee Stadium. Like, I'm just talking about at home in Yankee Stadium where you need to pitch. I mean, that's where majority of your games are. You need to pitch well. He had an ERA in Yankee Stadium in 2017 with the Yankees, just with the Yankees. I'm not even going with when he was with the A's, of 5.65. Yeah, he gave up his batting average against was not that bad. It was 227, but overall, it's not great. They're not great numbers. I mean, he's giving up a lot of home runs, which makes sense. I mean, it's a smaller park, so it totally makes sense where he would give up more home runs in Yankee Stadium than he would in Oakland. Now, in 2018, it's been even worse. Like, I don't know if this is a Larry Rothschild thing, but it's gotten even worse. I mean, he pitched 36 innings pitched. He's given up 33 earned runs. He's got an ERA of 8.25, and he's given up another 8 home runs, which is outrageous. The biggest bugaboo about this whole thing, batting average against 329. He's given up 23 walks to 25 Ks, and his whip is 2 in Yankee Stadium, just in Yankee Stadium. He pitches far better away from home than he does than when he does it at home. And it's getting kind of old, and I just don't know if he's ever going to be able to throw out. I'm not ready to 100% give up on him yet, but I am also at the point where I would not blame the Yankees if they just parted ways, try to get something for him. I mean, it's going to be tough right now to get something for him, but if they could get anything for him whatsoever, it would be nice. And because I think it's just going to benefit both sides if they can just part ways, because he obviously needs to move on. I don't know if it just needs him to go to a National League team or if he just needs to go to a bigger ball field, maybe San Diego or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what would be better for him, but go ahead.
I think your best bet for him right now is that you're getting a 5-pound barrel of David's Ranch sunflower seeds for him. Which wouldn't be bad. Those are really good.
Yeah, so he's arbitration 3 next year. So for 2019, and then for 2020, he's an unrestricted free agent.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and I don't know what he'll get in arbitration, but it's not gonna be very much, especially with a year like this. So, it might almost be worth their while to keep him. I mean, although you could trade him, and if he plays well for another team, I mean, or even if he doesn't, like if they trade him at some point in time and he goes to the DL and he's on the DL for a little while, it could end up benefiting that team a lot.
Well, I think he could benefit from the change of scenery scenario too.
Yeah.
Where I think a team will probably look at him and say, you know what, New York's just not a right fit for him. This guy clearly has good stuff, so we'll make a move for him, and we probably won't have to give up a lot to get him.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. All right, let's change over to we're going to talk about the chances that the Yankees land one of the big aces that are kind of available right now, which is Jacob deGrom, Blake Snell, Chris Archer. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, there's no way they can land Jacob deGrom. And the fact is, we could land anybody we want. That's how many prospects we have. I mean, it's just a matter of who we want to part with. And as of right now, for people like deGrom and Blake Snell, the Yankees have not wanted to part with those prospects yet. So I do feel like they could land one of them. I don't think that they will land one of them because I don't think they're going to want to part with a lot of their prospects. I think they're going to go after somebody a little cheaper like Cole Hamels or Happ, J.A. Happ, who J.A. Happ has been struggling over the last couple of weeks. He's been brutal. I have him on both of my fantasy baseball teams, and he has been brutal over
I
the
want no
last
part of
couple
him.
weeks.
I don't want any part of him. He's not a guy that. See, I'd rather have Cole Hamels because I don't believe J Happ's going to really give you a huge opportunity to win a postseason game.
Yeah,
and if you're the Yankees,
has that.
Hamels has the big game pedigree.
Yeah.
You know we can do it. And if you look at his numbers against good teams this year, he's pitched well.
Yeah. He's a good
He
pitcher.
can pitch well against the Sox, against the Astros, and against the Yankees. Mm-hmm. He's pitched well against those teams. I know his record doesn't indicate it, but you wouldn't think it. But I would so much rather have him in a big game than Happ. I'm sorry, I don't.
I'm 100% agreeing with you. I mean, they're both
I think he's
lefties.
an average guy.
They're both lefties, and Hamels, when it comes down to it, just has better stuff, and he's more consistent.
Yeah, and as far as those other three guys, forget it. None of those are happening. Archer, Snell, there's no way the Rays are. Can you imagine what the Rays would want for Snell right now? I mean, that's King's ransom. DeGrom is even worse. So
I really
0 for 3 on that.
I think they have a legitimate shot at Chris Archer. I think there is a legitimate case for Chris Archer.
Of the three,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, and I would love to see him in a Yankee uniform. He's a smart dude, super athletic. I just feel like he has felt...
He's very competitive. I do like his style. So
and he has some serious strikeout. That guy is a talented dude. It's just a matter of he's pitched in a bad organization for a long time, and I think it's just wearing on him. I think having him move over to a Yankee uniform, I think he would thrive. Whereas Sonny Gray, he was kind of a wild card because he's such a quiet dude. You weren't really sure what you were going to get. You just knew that he was talented. Whereas Chris Archer, he has performed on a big stage against the Yankees multiple times. Granted, the Yankees have also tagged him sometimes, but he has pitched for terrible teams. No run support. It's one of those things that Chris Archer moving to the Yankees,
probably another change of scenery guy
for a couple of prospects would be huge. I would love to see that. Is there any? So you think that? Who do you think that they're going to likely land? Because they're going to get
pitching?
somebody.
Are you talking about pitching?
Yeah, just any. Yeah.
Because I actually think the other thing I think too, real quickly, is I think Moustakas is probably going to happen. Pitching though. God, I don't know. I'm honestly, as long as it's not Fulmer, just stay as far away from that guy as humanly possible. He's a disaster. I don't care that he's only making $500,000 a year. Don't touch him. All right. If you want an answer though, I'm gonna stick with Hamels. I still think they're gonna find a way to get Cole Hamels. I think his price tag will drop a little bit, and I think he'll be reasonable because the one thing with Cole Hamels is that he makes $20 million a year, and that is something that the Rangers would like to shed.
Yeah.
So I still think that's the most likely scenario, and that's the one of all the options, of all the the realistic options available. That's the one I would prefer.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to get Cole Hamels. I also would love to get Chris Archer. And I would say out of all the people that are available and the least costly to us would be probably Cole Hamels. And I would love to see him in a Yankee uniform. I know he can pitch on a big stage. Like we had said, he's got good stuff. The only thing I get a little bit worried about with him is the little bit of the durability factor. Not because he's proven to get hurt a lot, but just because he's getting older. And that's the only thing that makes me a little nervous because he hasn't really gotten a lot. He hasn't gotten injured a lot throughout his career. Yeah. But just because he's a little older, I would get a little nervous. And I would hope. Yeah. And the Yankees, you know what they would do. They would rest him. They would give him a week off or 2 weeks off in the middle of the summer and keep him fresh for the playoffs and everything like that. And
I do still like the idea of having him for a full year under contract next year too.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's expensive, but you know what? A lefty in Yankee Stadium pitching to the big part of the ballpark. And who knows? They may keep CeCe too. You never know. They may just go 1 year at a time with CeCe like Pettit. So we'll see. They could theoretically have two really solid veteran lefties in their rotation next year at the end of the rotation. Who would not want that?
By the way, just to let you know, Chris Archer is signed through 2021.
Yeah. No, it's a good.
And he's this year making 6.2, next year 7.5, and then 8.25 over 2 years.
Tampa's still gonna want a lot for him.
They're gonna get a haul because of all that. Because of all that, I don't know. Now I don't know if it's a player option or if it's a club option for 2020 and 2021. But there's some Good
I
stuff
don't
going
even
on
know
there.
what that would cost the Yankees, but I'm guessing Florial would be on the top of the list. I mean, maybe Justice Sheffield too. I don't know.
I would see Justice Sheffield out there. I mean, you would probably see something like Clint Frazier or somebody like that gone as well. I know you. I know. I shouldn't even have mentioned it. I shouldn't even mentioned it. You're gonna start crying on the show.
Throwing me off
First
my
day
game.
live.
We're
you're gonna
live.
start crying. All right, let's switch topics. We're gonna head on over to the next one, which is one of our favorite things to talk about. And we talk about it a lot. I don't know if it's our favorite thing, but it's our favorite music. The NBA on NBC.
A spectacular move by Michael Jordan. The NBA on NBC.
The second greatest player of all time. Oh.
Here we go. It's the only argument I need, Sean!
All right. So we have a little NBA stuff to talk about here today, and that's as a Spurs fan, you've heard all this stuff that's been going on with Kawhi. And that it has come out, that whole there was one of the guys that was on a podcast, and he, a pretty reputable guy, was on a podcast talking about Kawhi and said how Kawhi was dodging Pop and all the Spurs and everything like that, and they were like rushing him throughout the hotel and kind of keep him away. And then Chris Broussard, who's I feel is a very reputable reporter. He doesn't really do reporting anymore, but he's more like does stuff on Fox and FS1 and stuff like that, TV shows and stuff like that. But he's a very reputable guy, and he said he spoke to someone very close to Kawhi and said that was just ridiculous. There was nothing. The Spurs were fully involved with everything. They knew everything that was going on, where Kawhi was going to be, exactly where, and exactly when. So it was not dodging. This is just a a ridiculous rumor. And I would have to agree. I mean, it seemed when I was reading that whole thing because it was on Reddit, they kind of had a bullet point breakdown of what happened. And I was like, there is no way that he did that. So as a Spurs fan, with all that, taking all that in, how would you feel if Kawhi was a Spur next season?
I wouldn't want it. And I know that probably sounds strange because he's basically my favorite player in the league, but
possibly the third best player in the game.
At this point, you have to cut ties with him. He's a complete and total liability to the team. The way he was talked about last year by Pop, where Pop kept referring to the fact that if you want any information on Kawhi or his health, you had to talk to his group or his people. There's obviously a huge disconnect there. We already know that Kawhi wants to play in Los Angeles, whether it's the Clippers or the Lakers, we don't really know. You have to cut ties with him because if you keep him on the team for this year, yeah, he'll play, and I'm sure he'll probably play well because he'll still want to play for a big contract. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get anything for him after that. Right now, you have to strike while the iron is hot and get something for the guy. If you can't get anything for the guy, then what's the point? There's too much value in him to just let him play out the year and then get nothing for him in free agency. Yeah. You've got to be able to get some value back for him. So you have, and look, I know the Spurs are going to take a hit as far as the trade compensation. They won't get a lot for him because teams know that he's going to be gone next year and that he will be available in free. I shouldn't say you won't get a lot for him. You're not going to be able to get what you'd normally be able to get for him. That being said, you got to unload him and try and get the best package available, and that's probably Boston or Philly right now.
Yeah, and I'm 100% with you with that. I think that it's definitely. I think for him, I think he's likely to go to two different teams, but that's something we can discuss right now. Is where do we think that Kawhi's best fit is? Because I think that his best fit is probably. There's two great fits for me. There's two really good fits for Kawhi Leonard, and that one is with the Lakers. Because if he goes to the Lakers, they have, in my opinion,
sure.
If he goes to the Lakers, that's where he wants to go. He wants to be in LA, and there's rumors out there saying that he wouldn't mind going to the Clippers. But if you had to pick between the two, you'd want to go to the Lakers. I mean, that's
why wouldn't you want to go to the Lakers? I mean, LeBron's there. That'd
be outrageous.
Then you're an instant contender.
Yeah, and there's also people saying that Kawhi doesn't care if he plays with. He doesn't want to have to be in a part of a super team. He doesn't need to be a part of a super team. He's won a championship already. Well, you wouldn't have won that championship without Tim Duncan. So you can't really say. And then Tony Parker was really good at that point in time too. So you can't really say that you don't want to be a part of a super team, because if you're not going to win. Like, I don't care how good you think you are, you're not going to win.
He was part of a super team.
Right. It's just a quiet
They just weren't called that then.
The quiet dynasty, the quiet super team. Yeah. So it's just.
It was only 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so it is one of those things that where Kawhi Leonard, he needs to partner up with somebody. And I feel like the Lakers, he does that with the Lakers. they're going to be golden. They're going to be going to the NBA, either Western Conference Finals or the Finals every year for the immediate future. But I feel like his best fit is with the 76ers, because just like LeBron, if he goes there, that really opens them up to having a huge successful run. I feel like if they landed either one of those guys, either LeBron or Kawhi, you're talking about that's the next tier of superstars. And if the 76ers land a Kawhi, who it's saying there's been lots of reports saying that he'd be open to signing a long-term deal with the 76ers. He does that. That team is going to be better at the Celtics at that point in time, because they just landed the best two-way player in the game. I don't even think LeBron is the best two-way player anymore, because he takes so much time off on defense now because he's old. But Kawhi is probably the best two-way player in the game, and if they land him, that is huge. The only problem is that it's either Ben Simmons either needs to work on his shot a little bit more, because he needs to start making some jumpers, or Kawhi needs to work on his three-pointer. Because if they don't, then they're still a little bit behind the eight ball when it comes to being matched up with the Celtics. But because as of right now, I feel like the Celtics are the ones to win it all next year, the way that they're built. Well, how do you feel? I mean, what do you feel like Kawhi's best fit is? I know that you don't really want to talk about Kawhi anymore, because
I think his most ideal fit is in Los Angeles. I think that's where he'd prefer to be, but I don't think the Spurs are going to do him any favors by sending him out there. I think his best and most likely fit is Philly. I think he goes in there, depending on what the compensation is for him, but you put him with Simmons and Embiid, I think, to me, that team becomes the favorite in the East.
Yeah.
And I think they beat the Celtics. And I think they'd be in the finals playing Golden State, and I think it'd be a very interesting series. Kawhi just would add so much to that Philly team. I don't know that he would add much in terms of leadership, but he would definitely give them the defensive presence that they need. Right. And obviously you're going to, you know what you're going to get from him offensively too. So I think that's probably his most likely fit, where he could actually make the biggest impact.
Okay. All right. So let's hold on here. Let me do this. And there we are. All right, we're back. I did something to change something up, but all right. So we're back here. Now I want to kind of shift over to the Lakers. We've been talking about the Lakers a lot. Where do you think the Lakers are currently? Do you think that they can compete for a title? And if you don't, do you think that what do you think they need? Who do you think they need to kind of push themselves over the top? Besides, Kawhi would be the guy, but do you think there's anybody else out there they could possibly trade for?
No, not right now. No, I don't think there's anything that the Lakers can do this year to compete. I think they have to wait till next year. I think the only team that can actually legitimately compete with Golden State this year is the team that pushed them to the brink this year, and that's Houston.
Okay.
Beyond that, I don't see any scenario under which Golden State doesn't win another title. I think this year, much like last year, is already a foregone conclusion.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also with you there. I think that, if the Lakers really wanted the chance to win, they're going to have to partner. They're going to have to part ways with several guys, and one of those guys is going to be someone like Ingram, Randall. They're going to have to start shelling out people to get Kawhi. I also think that they're trying to they're trying to play the game that Pop plays and that R.C. Buford play, which is the long game. They have no problem being patient, like that whole quiet dynasty thing the Spurs had over that long run. They are trying to play a similar game and just being like, we can offer you more than anybody else. There's nobody out there that's going to be able to offer you what you can offer you. So if you're willing to take it, great. If you're not, that's fine by us. We'll wait for him to come on the market next year, and we will woo him, and we will win him, and we will get him. And that's how they feel like. I just feel like that's how the Lakers are right now. Is that they feel like if we don't get him this year, we're going to get him next year. That's how confident they are. Unfortunately, they also felt that way probably about Boogie Cousins. Didn't really work out there. There's lots of guys that I feel like, Paul George didn't work out there. So they have missed out on several occasions with these guys. So I don't really know if it's a smart play, but I think that's what they're doing. I think they're like, all right, we'll wing it. We can wing it. I'm cool with that. All right. That's pretty. That's a quick show. Look how quick that was. That was fantastic and quick. I mean, the beginning a little rough around the edges, but overall pretty quick. So I think we can get ready to head out here. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
You don't want that music. You want this music.
Yes, there it is. The Aliens.
Yeah.
It's my alien music. It's my favorite.
I mean, that's not even our real outro music, but whatever.
It's good news music too. Kind of feels like give some good news.
Yeah. I was watching Franklin Bash recently, and it was the episode where they were talking about where there was the vigilante, and he really feels like he was a superhero. And because I've been watching it again, I love that show. I think it's amazing. And they talked about at the end. They're in the elevator and they're looking back and forth. If you could pick any superpower, what would it be, and why? And I know what I would pick. What would you pick? If you could pick any superhero power.
I mean, my favorite superhero is Superman, so
but you can only pick one power.
No, I know, but I would have to choose the ability to fly because I would have to. I'd get myself in really good shape, put some tights on with a cape, and I would fly around like Superman.
I would love to see you with some tights on.
Well, not currently, but maybe give me a few months. Let me,
hit the gym a little bit. Hit the gym a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe wear a muscle suit.
A muscle suit might be a good idea. I could start that way, and then I could buy like one of those really expensive deluxe Superman Halloween costumes and float that a little bit.
Yeah.
And then and then go from there. Except the only problem would be, of course, that that would be the only superpower I'd have. There'd be no strength of 100 men.
But you'd be able to fly.
It would be cool to soar through the air, though.
But you wouldn't be any stronger either. So,
what's ironic about that is I'm like deathly afraid of heights. So, the landings
you're gonna have to get over that, buddy.
I think the landings would be really rough.
You're gonna be flying over everywhere, screaming at the top of your lungs.
Yeah. It was tough. I had a hard time between choosing flight and the ability to be invisible.
That's cool. That's one. See, mine was always for a long time. I was like, I always wanted, because I had a bad accident a long time ago. Broke my leg in several places, whatever. I'm a type 1 diabetic also. So I always kind of was like, I want Wolverine. I want the ability to regenerate and just heal so quickly. And that was always the thing that I wanted. And I started thinking about it more, and I'm like, what? That would actually be pretty miserable, because you would outlive everyone under the sun. And what would you do? If you outlive all your loved ones, that would get old after a while, literally. So I would have to say, if I was going to pick one superpower, it'd be the superpower that Domino has, which is lucky. Because that would be...
You may have it already.
You could win with scratchers left and right, winning lotto, just going down the road and not having to worry about a care in the world, because it's just luck follows you everywhere you go. That'd be tremendous. Being
probably the most realistic one, too.
Yeah, being lucky is being better than good. Can be. So, I don't know. That would be my pick.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one. I think it's tremendous. All right. So anyway, you can find us. This will be loaded up. This will be uploaded to YouTube, so you can find it there. You can also look at our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Shane and the Bri Man. You can hit us up on Twitter at Shane and Bri Man. You can email us at shaneandthebriman@gmail.com, and we will put any of your rants or questions or anything like that on the show. I can also put, if you put them in the comments, during the show, I can actually add them to the broadcast, and we can just read them on there. So you can hit me up on Twitter at Einhornisfinkel, and
you can find me on Twitter at _Bri_man.
And that's pretty much the end of our first live show. A little bit of chaos at the beginning, but hopefully it turned out okay. All right. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you again in just a couple days on Wednesday, early 9:30-ish, 9:45-ish, every Monday, Wednesday for the very near future.
For the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and then we might be even adding a third show when football season comes around, because we got to talk football. So.
Yeah, right. Saturday mornings.
Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you guys again soon.
Stay classy, Planet Globe.